Alright, the seed video is out, which means you guys already know what it is. It's time to get into our other old boss squad unit, Orphie and Magus. These are going to be characters that are going to be pushing the Aftershock meta even further to where it should have always been in the first place. And I think a lot of you guys are looking forward to her and has definitely been investing to the Aftershocks. You're going to be super excited to end up pulling this character within 2.2. So with that being said, you already know what we do. We're going to be doing a breakdown over the character's kit. We're going to be talking about how she overall plays and what you should be getting used to with her. We'll also be going over some team comps and why you should or shouldn't be pulling for Orphie and Magus when they release. So without further ado, let's get into this character's kit. But before we get into that, be sure to check out LD Shop to get the best discounts on your 2.0 pools. LD Shop is a formal top-up platform created by LD Player Emulator Group. They offer amazing discounts on a multitude of games through official partnership with Razor Gold, who is the official top-up partner of HoYoverse. This means that they're a safe and reliable platform for you to use, and so many players have left amazing ratings and reviews. Now I know you guys are already waiting to see how do you get those sweet Zenless deals. Well, all you have to do is click on Zenless Zone Zero at ldshop.gg and you'll see that there's a plethora of discounts to choose from at rates better than the official game. They offer deals for in and out memberships. You can grab character skins for a low price, and they even have massive discounted bundles that guarantee you the new limited character or their W engine. Now once you have an item you want to purchase, all you need to do is select your server region and enter your UID. Then bam, your currency should be loaded into your account in 5 minutes or less. Now something that I almost forgot to mention is that if you haven't topped up in Zenless before and you want to get that big bonus, if you do it on LD Shop, you'll not only still get the discounts that they offer, but you'll also get that big top up bonus in game. That's just a deal that you can't beat. So if you guys still need to grab those new units, be sure to use my link in the description or comment section below to receive their 15% off coupon, which can save you up to $50 towards the units that you want. Orphie and Magus are a fire attack unit that specializes in dealing damage off field through Aftershocks while granting insane buffs to their teammates, especially other Aftershock units. When teammates attacks enemy off field, Orphie and Magus will use their special attack Corrosive Flash to fire laser beams off field, dealing fire damage while restoring her unique resource, Bottled Heat. When enough energy is available, they'll then use their EX special attack Crimson Vortex to deal fire damage off field while building even more Bottled Heat. Now once Bottled Heat reaches a certain threshold indicated on the meter, you can then switch Orphie on field to perform Hold EX Special Heat Charge, which will have Magus consume Bottled Heat to unleash a laser that increases in firepower over time. This right here is really strong because not only does this move do a lot more damage over time, but this move also grants the opportunity for quick assist to be prompted, which makes me believe that when this happens, Orphie and Magus will remain on field to complete the animation while you're bringing in your other DPS to start their rotation, making them overall a great quick swap synergy unit, which is always good in Zenless. Another great thing about this skill is that it has a unique parry tied to it, similar to how Yanagi has her parry on her stances, but the great thing about triggering the parry for this character is that not only does it grant invulnerability, it also increases the amount of damage that the skill ends up doing if you perfectly time it, which is actually an insane benefit, and I love it so much. I love when characters in Zenless provide some form of execution reward to show off when players truly learn how to master a character on field. And normally a lot of times when pulling off parries and understanding when to perfectly dodge and perfectly time things within the character's kit truly shows that you're really comfortable with the unit and you know when and how to use them out on the battlefield. So again, I always love when the Zenless scene incorporate things like this within the character's kit. Speaking of Bottled Heat, by the way, every time Orphie and Magus attacks enemies with skills that consume Bottled Heat, their team will gain an effect known as Zeroed In, which provides an attack boost that scales off of Orphie's energy regen. If any units on their team performs Aftershock, the duration of Zeroed In is actually extended for that agent specifically. If Orphie and Magus' additional ability is also activated by a stun or support unit, the Zeroed In state then grants Aftershock units the ability to ignore a percentage of enemies' defense. This state is actually pretty insane. So not only is it a buff that is granted for all general units within the game to take advantage of an attack increase, but it's also improved upon by even getting greater benefits for Aftershock units to be able to have it activated longer while also getting a percentage of defense shred. That's really good, and that adds in a lot more firepower, not only for like a unit like Sandy who's going to be doing Aftershocks on field, but it also makes a unit like Trigger do a little bit more damage off field. Even somebody like Yuzaha who's performing Aftershocks while being a support. That's looking pretty clean, and I can't wait to see if we get more future characters who are going to be performing Aftershocks to take more advantage of this. And I really want to hone on that because I think the strength behind Aftershock is more about the mechanic itself and not the damage type that they tied to with Soldier Zero Ambi. I think the strength of Aftershock is being able to provide off-field support, damage, or stun, whatever it is, in order to allow other on-field units to still perform their job and those Aftershock units to still do theirs as well. So if we're having buffs and improvements that allows those things to continue to get better and amplify their performance even more, I think that's a great direction for Aftershock, and I'm super glad that the devs are realizing this and are pushing that forward even more. All in all, when it comes to playing Orphie and Magus, they are looking really good. You want them to primarily remain on field in order for them to provide continuous DPS through their Aftershocks while building bottle heat. Once bottle heat hits its desired threshold, then we can bring them on field to perform their whole EX special so that Magus can unleash that insane amount of fire damage while also entering the team into the zeroed end state for that nice attack increase. After the buff is active, it's time for your on-field units to take advantage of those damage increases they're going to be receiving while waiting for Orphie and Magus to build enough decibels for their ultimate. Now, in between this time, you're more than likely going to be having to bring Orphie maybe on field once or twice again in order to replenish the zeroed end buff, but hopefully at some point throughout that time, you'll be able to get enough decibels for that ultimate so you can unleash it so that not only you could be dealing a massive amount of fire damage, but you'll also be able to trigger a quick assist so that you can bring in your on-field unit once again, similar to how that EX special that we talked about earlier. If you guys don't have a big understanding picture of how this is going to look, think of how you're able to quick assist during Bernice's ultimate. It's pretty much the same thing. I think I forgot to mention that this is also a forward quick assist, but when bringing in this enemy and while Orphie and Magus are still performing that animation, once that completes, they kind of hint at the fact that Orphie and Magus goes into something called a dance with fire state, and I think this is insinuating that while this state is active, Orphie and Magus will be dealing aftershocks that are either stronger than what they were before, or maybe their EX versions just last a bit longer. I'm not sure, maybe I'm just reading a little too much into this, but that's what it felt like they was trying to say to us. Overall though, I think Orphie and Magus are really good, and I can't wait until we get to dive more into these characters to see all the different team comps, where they're going to be placed on the tier list, how they're going to overall feel in game, if we can force them to be a little bit more on field than they probably want to be, so on and so forth. There's so much to look forward to with this character that I can't wait to see what more that we end up learning about them and finding throughout the community. But when it comes to discovery, I think one of the main things you guys know I love talking about that we need to shift into right now, let's talk about team comps. When it comes to building teams for Orphie, you want to make sure that you have units that can take full advantage of her buffs. This means primarily you want to have at least one other Aftershock unit on her team so that they can take advantage of that attack buff, that extended duration, and that defense shred that we mentioned earlier. So with keeping that in mind, I think some of her go-to teams that a lot of people will be using will be C Trigger Orphie, Sambi Trigger Orphie, which Trigger could potentially be replaced with Jufufu in this team, and even Poker if you need a budget option, and even the likes of a team like Soldier 11, Lighter, and Orphie, which I know this doesn't include Aftershock, but because Lighter is going to be able to buff Orphie's fire damage, this actually still ends up remaining to be a really good team overall. But if you want a little bit of Aftershock, of course you can substitute Lighter for Jufufu and Trigger upon this team, especially if we get some fire and electric enemies, and as well as Poker again if you need a budget option. Soldier 11 can also be replacing this team as well if you want to run Ellen or even Nekomata, but if you're going to be running Neko, I definitely suggest running Jufufu and Poker with Orphie instead of running Lighter, just so that you have a stronger stunner for Neko as a whole. Now, if you're looking for some more interesting teams that you want to develop that people probably won't be looking into that much, but I think secretly has a little bit of potential, I think some good ones are going to be Yijuan Jufufu Orphie and potentially Yanagi Trigger Orphie. Overall, when it comes to forming teams with Orphie and Magus, I think it's pretty safe and there isn't too much to be expanded upon at the moment. It's because that we only have but so many Aftershock units that's going to be able to fully take advantage of what Orphie offers. So you're probably going to be seeing a lot of common characters within her team because the current Aftershock roster is a bit limited. But of course, if we do end up getting more Aftershock units down the line, or maybe if we get some characters that are able to expand their kit a bit more to include Aftershock in it, we definitely will see more play from Orphie. But as of right now, I think a lot of our teams are going to be kind of concrete and in place for a little bit once she first comes out, because most of her options are going to be ready and available when she releases in the second half of 2.2. But enough of teams, enough of the kit. We need to talk about why you should or shouldn't pull Orphie. If you're someone that's looking to pulling Orphie, I think that she is worth pulling if you're someone that's already invested into the Aftershock meta. This is because, again, she's a character that's centered around buffing Aftershock-like characters. Of course, her buffs are applied to other agents in the game in general, but Aftershock is her main focus. And in order to pull out the full value of this character, you want to be running Aftershock agents with her. That means your Sambis, your Triggers, your Pokras, even a little bit of Yuza use a Hive possible. Having at least 1 or 2 of those characters, especially with Sanbi or Trigger, makes her very valuable and worth going for if you're 100% looking for the main reason why you should go for her. But let's just say you only have a little bit of investment in Aftershock and maybe you just have a Trigger or a Poker, then I think she's still worth going for if you utilize units that end up like running Aftershock units within their team comp. So of course this would be like your Seed, even Sanbi of course, but also someone like Soldier 11 or Nekomata. These are characters that actually love Aftershock units within their comps because they're heavy on field units that love the fact that they're able to still get stunned and other buffs contribute to them while they're performing their rotations. Ellen can be a part of this group as well. These are units that love taking advantage of this and would actually like the fact to have Orphie a part of their team if possible. It probably won't be Orphie's best team, but she could probably offer some really strong teams for those units specifically. Now, if you're someone that needs to know why you shouldn't pull for her, then I think it's fairly easy to identify. For one, if you aren't invested in Aftershock at all and you don't plan to as a whole, I think Orphie is a fine unit you can get, but I wouldn't recommend getting her if again you don't plan to invest into Aftershock one bit. That's because you're missing out on the main aspects of her kit that people will more than likely be using her for, especially her additional ability. It will literally do nothing for you because you're not taking advantage of one of the key things that she's buffing. Again, if you have no plan in doing so, it's not really worth going for. I also think that if you're not invested into the attack meta at all, you're gonna find like very niche cases that you're gonna be using Orphie within other comps like Rupture and Anomaly, in which it can be done. It just isn't going to be completely ideal because if you're not invested into attack, that means more than likely you don't have that many stun units. That means possibly you don't have a Trigger or a Jué or any other unit that offers Aftershock, and because of that, it just makes the value of Orphie go much lower and lower on the list for you to pull her. But of course, if you're someone that just loves the character, you think she looks cool, and maybe you want to force and try to make on-field Orphie work, then go for it. I'm not here to deny anybody's love and interest of the character and excitement for them if you think they just look cool and you want to play them. I'm just here to provide people the knowledge of like if you're someone that's more focused on like how to properly use them and their overall functionality. I'm just here to essentially provide my advice in that lane. But outside of that, if you don't care about none of that and you just think Orphie looks cool, then by all means go for them. But other than that, that's everything in regards to Orphie. This is a character that once again is super exciting and I know everyone is looking forward to her. This is because that she is looking really strong. She's pushing a mechanic in a class that a lot of people have been waiting for to see improvements. And I know you guys have seen that Sanbi video not too long ago. So it's kind of crazy that, you know, Orphie is here to overall shut all that down and continue to push this mechanic forward. I know a lot of people have been thinking that Aftershock's been dormant, but I believe that Aftershock was always something that's in the thought process for the Zenless team. It just needed some time to develop and for them to figure out what are some actually strong key things in order to make solid improvements with the mechanic overall. And I'm glad they took their time, and they did, because how Orphie and C is looking, I'm super happy with the future of Aftershock, and I can't wait to invest more into it. Especially since you guys know I'm an old ball squad guy. I have all the old ball squad units except for Sam because she's not old ball. That's silver squad. But depending on how them buffs are, we might stop the Sanbi slander if the buffs are looking nice. I'm not gonna lie, we might give it a rerun. I know the Sanbi fans, you're gonna be booing me. I should have been there day one, but it is what it is. Enough of the funny Sanbi talk though. If you guys are excited for Orphie, definitely pull for her. I definitely recommend it. She's looking like a really strong character, and especially if you are a Sanbi main, because Sanbi is definitely gonna be getting a lot of love and benefits from having Orphie on her team. So again, highly recommend her. If you guys did enjoy the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.